Kia ora, good evening. Southport New Zealand Limited has posted a slightly reduced profit between July and December 2013. Increased cargo volumes offset by lower warehousing returns have resulted in Southport achieving a slightly reduced net profit after tax of $2.68 million for the 6-month period. This compared with $2.9 million in the corresponding period last year. Southport Chairman Rex Chapman says the result was encouraging after the company and the rest of the freight market in New Zealand encountered a quieter than normal export off-season in the July to September 2013 quarter. In the previous corresponding season, the more rapid movement of dairy, fish and meat product into the market created low inventory levels at the start of Southport's financial year and directly impacted warehousing activity and containerised cargo. City commercial and residential property valuer Robert Todd says QV property statistics can be easily distorted by the limited number of sales in the city. This week, the latest QV statistics indicated a small decline in residential property values in Invercargill and Southland. The average house price in Invercargill is $205,000, down 0.4% in 12 months.
Yeah, we don't put a lot of emphasis on those stats because they're easily distorted due to the fact that we have a limited number of sales occurring in the city at anywhere between 80 and 100 sales per month. So all it takes is a couple of higher value sales or a significant number of lower value sales to distort those figures.
It's actually at about 205,000, actually up in the last 3 months by 0.4%, but down 0.4% over the whole year. Is that similar to what you're seeing?
Not really. I mean, each property really needs to be taken on its own merits. You can't just apply a median or an average percentage. It just doesn't work.
What sort of influences are we seeing on the market here? Obviously there was a massive slump that reflected the rural decline in the 90s. In fact, houses were exceedingly cheap in the late 90s, early 2000s. What influences are we seeing now?
SIT's been positive. We have seen a drop-off in residential investment property purchases just due to changes in LAQCs and depreciation.
Are those new mortgage requirements having an effect? Are you seeing that?
Yes, they are. The number of first-home buyers has dropped off due to the LVR threshold, and we're also seeing a decrease in people upgrading properties perhaps to their second home just due to those lending requirements.
During those years that you mentioned, the 2000 to 2007, people may not have sold their house, but a lot of investment did go into the housing stock as far as renovations and add-ons. Is that still ongoing? Are you seeing that in the houses you're valuing?
Yes, we are. People are maintaining their properties, doing extensions, renovations. We're still seeing a number of new houses built, which is also positive for the city.
I don't want you. I guess I want you to try and predict the future, but is it possible to look out? Let's look at the big plan for 5 years. Where do you see those trends with SIT, as you mentioned, with the demand for students, international students, that will drive up prices, won't it? Do you see us looking prettier in 5 years?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, and to be honest, we don't know the answer. No one does. There's so many variables out there. The SIT is obviously very important. The rural sector is extremely important for Invercargill and Southland, so it'll have a flow-on effect, whether it's negative or positive. And a major issue still hanging over us, I believe, is the long-term viability of TY. We still see that as a potential issue.
The image of Gore has had a branding makeover, and it's hoped the new Rural City Living brand will be a powerful tool for promoting the area and building pride in the community. I spoke to Steve Parry from Gore's District Council about the rebrand and how it epitomises life in and around the eastern Southland town.
That the council's never really had a brand as such. It has a logo, but the logo really, which focuses on a mountain and rural type scenery, which is fantastic, but of course there are many other councils that have similar brands, and we wanted to be have a brand that really encapsulated what we're about, which is quite something different from what most other communities in a rural setting offer.
The concept, was it something that you had already decided on before you went to them?
Yes, it was when I say concept, we had the concept of a rural city. That was something that we hit on at the very outset. But like most ideas that come from somewhere near the top, they're very misty and vague, and they need to have some flesh put on them. And so really Dry Crust came in with just a notion of a rural city idea, and they really came up with these 4 options about how Gore could be presented in a logo form, but also how that could be used as a springboard to bring about some really snappy statements. And so the rural city living idea was the bedrock. But the idea of dinner jackets and gumboots, for example, that was purely Dry Crust, capitalising on this very just amorphous idea that we had, and the emphasising the go and gore and all that positivity that it projects. Certainly, that was Dry Crust's creativity coming to the fore as well.
And as far as that brand goes, it was well received by the councillors when it was pitched?
All the councillors loved it, and there wasn't really a division of opinion. And there was a real consensus that we've got to get on with this and launch it before the field days, which of course is now upon us.
Let's talk about money. It's $15,000 to get it to the stage where you had the creative process completed. How much for the rollout for the actual hard copy materials?
Yes, $48,000 is the budget for the rollout, and that includes the likes of flags and banners and upgrading all the welcome signs that come into the main arterials into Gore District, should I say, and also caps and t-shirts and pens and other such marketing material to really give the brand some impetus. We think there's an element of sophistication in this community that you don't find somewhere else. You find city-type services in a rural setting, and so things like an award-winning art gallery and multi-sports complex, even the recent opening of the Thomas Green restaurant in Gore, are all, I think, symptomatic of this type of sophistication that we do offer that I think gives us the point of difference.
Still to come on the bulletin, more from the Southern Field Days, and city florists prepare for Valentine's Day. Welcome back. Countdown supermarket owners Progressive Enterprises have categorically denied accusations of the use of mafioso-style tactics with New Zealand product suppliers. The accusations were made by Labourist MP Shane Jones under parliamentary privilege yesterday. Mr Jones said he had heard from unnamed suppliers to the chain that Countdown management were demanding cash payments from Kiwi businesses on the grounds that its Australian shareholders were not happy with prior profitability. The List MP has laid a formal complaint with the Commerce Commission. Managing Director of Progressive Enterprises, Dave Chambers, says it categorically rejects the allegations. Mr Chambers says that Progressive would fully cooperate with any inquiries from the Commerce Commission. Florists around the province are flat out today in preparation for the busiest floral day of the year. February the 14th tomorrow is St Valentine's Day, and in this 18th century England it became an occasion for lovers to express their admiration by presenting flowers, sweet treats or handwritten notes, which have more recently given way to mass-produced greeting cards. Red roses remain the staple, especially for die-hard romantics, but other novelty bouquets are also proving a popular choice for men. Ambrosia designer florist of Invercargill have doubled staff to keep pace as pre-orders climb well above last year's.
Yeah, we've pretty much been preparing for the last month. There's only so much we can do with the fresh flowers, which only arrived in this week. But as far as making up our candy bouquets and just preparing, really ordering bits and pieces, wrapping and ribbon and getting flower care cards stapled and just as much as we possibly could before the actual flowers arrive. So, yeah, big lead up.
Who's ordering the flowers this year?
It's a good mix for us. We do the chocolate and lolly bouquets, which are quite popular for the guys, so we do get a lot of women ordering. But yeah, the guys are pretty romantic too. They're always in for red roses, so yeah, it's a good mix.
And falling on a Friday, do you think that might add to people making an effort this year?
I definitely think it always helps being at the end of the week. We've always noticed in past years that when it's on a Thursday or Friday, they always are bigger than earlier in the week. I think people just get reminded about it all week, and yeah, just falling right before the weekend, it's always good. So yeah.
Nice chance to have something delivered to work perhaps as opposed to home.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the wow factor happens when it's delivered to work as opposed to at home. You sort of get all your workmates envious, I guess, as well. So yeah.
You've had to enlist some help for tomorrow to get these deliveries out, and there could be a wow factor there too.
Yes, there is. We've got about 5 delivery drivers on, as well as we will have one of the Southland Stags coming in to help us out in conjunction with Relay for Life and a promotion they were running. So yeah, that will be a nice sweet surprise for some of the ladies that get the bouquets delivered by him.
Financially, is it one of your best days of the year?
It is our busiest day of the year. It's probably not the most profitable, much to everyone's what they think, but it's actually the most profitable day for the growers. They definitely, it's a good day for them. We pay probably 3 times the amount for roses on Valentine's Day, and that money goes to the growers. So, but just the sheer volume we're putting through makes it a really good day for us too. So, yeah.
The process to establish 3 large marine reserves in the sub-Antarctic islands is almost complete, with Parliament passing a bill through its 3rd and final reading. The new law will create 435,000 hectares of new marine reserves surrounding the Antipodes, Bounty and Campbell Islands in New Zealand's remote sub-Antarctic Ocean. Conservation Minister Dr Nick Smith says the significance of the 3 new reserves is their huge size, near pristine state and remoteness. Marine reserve status means there can be no fishing, no mining and no petroleum exploration within the protected areas. The new marine reserves will take effect at a formal ceremony on Campbell Island during a regular visit by HMNZS Wellington on the 2nd of March. The Southern Field Days at Waimumu near Gore has plenty of interesting farming demonstrations on offer, but a number of exhibitors are now putting great food on show too. This year, author and MasterChef finalist Jax Hamilton has teamed up with Farmlands to create culinary fare using locally grown produce.
My first time, yeah, I can't believe how big it is. I mean, I drove over from Invercargill and then all of a sudden you come across this big city, which is Field Days. It's magical, love it. And I might buy myself a tractor.
And you do what with that?
I don't know. Paint it pink and put some herbs in it. Who knows?
So you're here cooking demonstration and also moving some cookbooks.
Yes, I am. I'm doing 2 shows a day, one at 11 and one at 2 o'clock. In the mornings, I'm making a beautiful kind of pork belly piquant sauce with an apple slaw. And I'm using some lovely sheep halloumi, which is from Gore. And then in the afternoons, of course, it's lamb. Lamb, not going to do too much with it, season it really nicely, a lovely sauce, and some Moroccan couscous, because I love flavour.
And you've had a crowd here this morning watching?
Yeah, we had a really big crowd, and I also, which is really good today, I'm doing the cooking, but I've also got Brett from Blue Skies Meats, who's talking about the actual meat, what you can do with it, how you prepare it, you know, to get the best out of it, and what you can ask your butcher to do, because a lot of people actually don't have that education. So it's really nice. So he's having a bit of a chat, and then he's giving me the meat, and I'm cooking it. And we only have 30 minutes, so it just shows you what you can do, what you can bang out, and the flavours you can put in 30 minutes, really.
Sport is along next. We talk to sport journalist Joseph Romanos about the state of New Zealand cricket. From us, the news team, good night.